Welcome back to Timeout with J and G. It's Jay over here. It's G over there.
Yo, what is going on, everyone?
And today, you guys saw we are deciding if teams should be buying or selling at this year's trade deadline. The trade deadline is until beginning of February, so we still got
Yeah.
2 or 3 months, probably about 3 months. But we figured, we're about 25-ish games into the season. We kind of got an idea about a lot of these teams, how they look, kind of what they're going to be trying to do this season. So, December 15th, which is in 3 days from us recording this, is when teams can start making trades with people that have just been, that were signed. The recently signed restriction ends, and people. So, starting December 15th, we might see some trades. So we're just going to talk about that. How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
I'm doing solid. Doing pretty good. One of the things I want to talk about is Jimmy Butler, right? So it came out yesterday, the day before, that Jimmy Butler, that the Heat are taking calls for Jimmy Butler, and that his preferred locations were the Golden State Warriors, the Dallas Mavericks, and the Houston Rockets. But now today, it has just came out that the Phoenix Suns are also another team he would like to go to.
What?
Yeah. So, what out of those four teams, what do you think? I know we talked about it on Playback last night. But like I said, now a fourth team in the Phoenix Suns has been added. Does that change anything for you? Or do you still think you should go to one of those other three?
I think the Rockets or the Mavs are his best bet.
Okay,
Because, like I said on Playback, I don't think he's gonna gel with Draymond and just how
that's fair.
that Warriors team is. I don't think he's gonna gel with him too well.
Mm-hmm.
The Suns, I don't know what they give up.
Yeah, that's
Like,
pretty. It's got to be Bradley Beal, because it's like Jimmy Butler makes like
but
$50 million.
Bradley Beal's one of the only players that has a no trade clause.
That's true. And you're not giving up Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. So
Yeah, so you're gonna gut yourself from the inside out, hoping that Jimmy Butler can basically fill the void that your bench players are gonna give.
that can't. It's not even possible because they're in the second apron. So they need to they can't aggregate. They need to match contract. So literally, Bradley Beal is the only way it gets done. Like, without Bradley Beal, the
Yeah,
trade can't get done.
pretty
So
much.
I don't.
I still think his best bet is to go to the Rockets because they are
Yeah.
like everyone says like win now, win now, win now,
Mhm.
but like the Rockets in turn they could win now. I feel like they have the potential to do that. But if you look at it, Jimmy Butler does have a player option for next year. So if
That
he sees with
he already pretty much guaranteed he's turning down.
But let's just say this Rockets team goes to the Western Conference Finals,
Mm-hmm.
and it's gonna be like, okay, there's potential here. This team is really young. Let me sign, a 2-year extension with them and see if we can win a ring.
Yeah, maybe it's very possible.
And like for the Mavs, I know the Mavs are being talked about. Who are you giving up
Mm-hmm. It would have,
to make that
like
trade work?
Maxi Clee, but fucking maybe Klay Thompson would have to be in that trade too, salary wise. So yeah.
Yeah, it's just, in my opinion, the only team that really kind of works because of how much youth they have, and they don't really have a whole lot of big contracts.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, like if they got to give a big contract, I'm almost positive the Rockets will give up Dylan Brooks.
Or like
Some
Steven Adams. Steven Adams is still in that
Yeah,
team contract wise.
yeah. So it's just like I feel like the Rockets have more flexibility to make this trade happen.
Mm-hmm. I just I just don't like the idea of the Rockets trading for Jimmy Butler, because I just I think it corners them into a weird position they're not ready for yet. Like, I just you have a lot of young talent, and I see no world where you give up any of those pieces for Jimmy Butler to try to win a ring. Because even if they get Jimmy Butler, do you look at the Rockets coming out of the Western Conference?
If they get Jimmy Butler, they have a better chance.
But that doesn't really do you still you give up Dylan Brooks, Steven Adams, you might have to give up Tari Eason, a couple of picks. Do you look at that team now and say, oh yeah, they can win out of the Western Conference?
Yeah,
You think I just don't think they're
I
better
think
than
they could.
OKC. I don't think they're better than OKC. I don't I don't
See,
think
but
they're
the
I don't know.
beautiful thing about the playoffs is they might not be better than OKC, but depending on what happens, they might not have to play OKC.
I mean, that's fair. I don't know. It feels like I feel like you're pushing the Rockets too far too fast if you got to do this kind of thing, and you might even have to go with Jabari Smith Jr. in this trade instead of Tari Eason, and that's another piece that you just drafted top 3 overall a couple years ago. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I don't know. I don't like the fit of it. I don't like the way it changes this Rockets team.
It's I don't know. I don't think Miami's gonna trade him,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just about how much Miami is going to ask back. You know
Yeah,
what I
and Pat
mean?
Riley doesn't like getting finesse. He's gonna want some shit back.
Yeah, he's gonna want to be the finesser,
Yeah,
not the finessee.
that's Pat Riley, man. That's that's Pat Riley.
Old Pat Riley.
But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, Jimmy Butler, Brandon Ingram might get traded, but now he's out indefinitely with his injury, so we don't know. Like if he's injured, we'll see if he gets traded or not. But yeah, I don't know. It's Jimmy Butler. We'll see. We'll see, man. Now, is there anything else you want to talk about with that Jimmy Butler thing?
No, not with Jimmy Butler.
Or is there anything you want to talk about before we get into college football?
Not in the NBA. Before I go into the college football report, there are reports that the University of North Carolina is going to sign
Yes.
Bill Belichick as their new head coach.
Did you see the stipulation though?
No, I did not. I didn't
That
really look
his
into the
son has
contract.
to be the head coach in waiting. Steven Belichick. I think his name's Steven. Bill Belichick basically, I'll double check here, but it's basically saying he won't be the head coach unless they can guarantee that his son pretty much will be the head coach after. I want to see if I can find where there was, because it's ridiculous.
Maybe he was kind of hoping that it wouldn't happen if he put that in, and they were
Well,
just like,
why the
let's
hell would he
go.
reach out then? Like, why the hell would he go for the job if he doesn't want the job?
I don't know.
That's
I
what
don't
I'm
know.
saying. It's yeah. I mean, I've got to try to find it now that I'm doing this, of course. But yeah, breaking news: Bill Belichick is finalizing a deal to become the head coach at UNC. I don't know.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting because he's gonna have to adjust to the college game.
Yeah,
Um, and one of the big things is he's gonna have to develop a quarterback, and that was one of the biggest questionable things for him was developing a quarterback.
yeah.
So I don't know. It's gonna be a little weird, especially seeing Bill Belichick coaching college, because a lot of us, including myself, are just associate him with the Patriots and that whole dynasty they had with Tom Brady.
I'm genuinely surprised he got back into coaching. I thought he was done. I thought he was he
Dude,
did some broadcasting, some not broadcast, but like some like TV personality stuff, and I thought he was done.
yeah, no, but once you're a coach, when you try and retire, you always get that itch to get back into it.
That's fair. That's
May
very
take a
very
couple
fair.
years, but maybe he was tired of it, took a couple years off, and now he's like, man, I need to get back into it. I
It's
miss
been
that.
what 2 years? No, just 1 year. Just 1 year. Just 1 year.
Yeah, Uh, that's all it takes sometimes. Like he could have
Yeah.
been, retired, for like a couple months and was like, you know what, I got to get back into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, UNC, see what he can do. UNC, not the greatest in football the past couple years, but maybe old Billy Boy can turn him around.
We'll see. See if we can build a college dynasty now.
Yeah, that'd be crazy. That'd be pretty crazy. But
All right. Yeah, if you're ready to get in your
on
college football, go
to
ahead.
the college football report. One bone you know what? No, we'll get into the game. The only game this week. We all know it. We all love it. It is the Army Navy game at Army. Army is favored by 6.5. It is at 3 p.m. on CBS. We kind of see both teams throughout the entire season. Army is 8-3. Army is 11-1. Navy is 8-3.
Mm-hmm.
Army coming off of a American Conference Championship win, but not getting into the college football playoff, which it's understandable. But come on, throw Army a bone. Come on, this is the best they've been in years.
They probably would have got their ass kicked, unfortunately, first round.
Yeah, probably, but it would have been cool to see them in.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
it
For
is
sure.
it is what it is. But I have Army.
I have
Right.
Navy. Damn, dude.
No, I have Army. Bryson Daly, one of the best running quarterbacks in the entire country. I mean, he's got like 24 rushing touchdowns, which is
Mm-hmm.
absurd. He's like top 5 in rushing touchdowns in the country, which is crazy. But no, I do have Army winning that game at West Point. One other thing I do want to talk about is Heisman. Do you think Ashton Genty did enough to get the Heisman?
I don't. It's tough, man. I honestly, this is one of those Heisman's where I wouldn't be upset if it went to either one of them between Ashton Genty and Travis Hunter. I mean, he did what he could do. He did the best he could do. for both these guys, they're going to have the strength of schedule knock on them. That they're just neither one of them really went against great competition throughout the entire season. So that's always going to be a knock on each one of them. But I don't know. I don't know which one's going to win, but I wouldn't be upset with either one of them.
I think Travis Hunter is gonna win, but
Mm-hmm.
I want Ashton Genty to win. I feel like the
Yeah.
storyline's there, everything's there. It is pretty much almost guaranteed, knock on wood, that he is gonna break Barry Sanders' record because he is guaranteed at least one more game.
Mm-hmm.
Because they did get a bye in the college football playoff. Speaking of the college football playoff, we're gonna run down the people that are in the bracket. So at the number 1 overall seed, we do have Oregon. At number 2, we have Georgia. At number 3, we have Boise State. Number 4, we have Arizona State. Those are all conference champions of the Big 12. The Big 12, the Big 10, Mountain West, and the SEC. And Clemson is sneaking in at the 12th seed as the ACC representative.
Mm-hmm.
Clemson will be playing Texas in the first round. Winner goes to play Arizona State. That game is at 4 p.m. on the 21st. I believe that is Saturday. At the 8-9 matchup, we have Tennessee going to Ohio State. That is at 8 p.m. And I just got to say, Ohio State, you guys are soft. You're
Okay.
soft. Did you see their... Oh, damn it. Did you see the report that came out?
Yeah, I did. They filed that thing. Yeah, I did see that.
They're soft.
Yeah, they are soft.
They're soft. I don't get it. At the 11-6 matchup, we have Penn State. And at... Give me one.
Dispute your mic. You're good. Levi is sick, guys. If you haven't figured it out, he's not feeling the best. You hear him over there.
Alrighty, in the 11-6 matchup, we have SMU going to Penn State. Penn State probably drew the easiest road to the semifinals you could draw. The winner of that will go on and play Boise State. The last game we have the ass off, in my opinion. Indiana at Notre Dame. That game is on Friday at 8 p.m. on ABC ESPN. Winner of that goes and plays Georgia.
Yeah.
Now, how, like, I'm still trying to wrap my head around the entirety that Tennessee's going to Ohio State.
Okay.
For the sole purpose that when Georgia lost to Ole Miss a couple weeks ago, they dropped them like 6 spots.
Mm-hmm.
Ohio State loses to Michigan, they drop them 4 spots.
Mm-hmm.
How does that work?
Yeah.
And also, the AP poll. Let me just pull this up so I'm not saying anything too wrong. In week 16, right? The one that just happened, they have Tennessee at 7, Ohio State at 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, neither team played, but from the week before, they had Tennessee at 6, Ohio State at 7. So they flipped them the next week. Neither team played.
Right.
Why do that unless you're trying to fit the narrative of the college football playoff poll?
I don't have an answer for you.
Like, what are we doing here? I don't understand it. But, you know, Tennessee's going to go up. They're going to whoop some Buckeye ass.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope they plant the flag.
Plant the flag. That's right. Get the lawsuit.
Hey, it's not confirmed yet that they're going to do it. But, you know, side note, if they do make it a felony, are they going to go get Baker Mayfield because he did it?
No, I don't think they'd go back with anything. I mean, they might, but I don't think they're going to go back with anything.
You never know. But we'll go through these games again real quick, and I want to see who you think's going to win.
Okay.
Right?
All right, I'm locked in.
All right. First game, we have Clemson at Texas.
Texas.
All right. Tennessee at Ohio State.
Ooh, that's a good first round matchup.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying this is the Ryan Day disaster class, and Tennessee's going to walk out there with victory.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Also, under Ryan Day, they only have one win against an SEC team. I think
I was going to say this might be the game that makes them fire Ryan Day.
Maybe. In the next game, we have number 11 SMU at number 6 Penn State.
Penn State.
Hell yeah. And then the final game of the first round, we have number 10 Indiana at number 7 Notre Dame.
I'm taking the upset, baby. Give me Indiana.
Ooh, okay. I see.
We got to get at least one in there.
Yeah, you got to get at least one upset. well, 2, but that Tennessee Ohio State is not
Yeah, I
really
mean,
an upset.
a 6-7 matchup is you're pretty much equals,
Yeah, 8-9.
or
That
eight
could be
nine. That's
flip
what I mean.
flopped either
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
But no, at Indiana will pick Baby Golden.
Hell, we'll see.
Baby Golden.
We'll see.
But to wrap up the regular season, just go through some of the offensive leaders and defensive leaders. But offensive leaders for passing yards, it is Kyle McCord of
Mm-hmm.
Syracuse.
Mm-hmm.
Rushing, it's Ashton Genty
Yeah, pretty
with
clearly.
2,497 yards. Kyle McCord had 4,326 passing yards. And then receiving yards, I don't even know who this guy is. Nick Nash, a wide
Sh-
receiver from San Jose State.
Shout out Nick Nash.
Shout out Nick Nash. He had 1,382 receiving yards. Tackle leaders is Sean Dolak from Buffalo. He has 159 total tackles on the season. Sack leader is Mike Green from Marshall, the
That
Thundering Herd.
that's an NFL player if I've ever heard one. Holy
Mike
moly,
Green.
Mike
He
Green
has,
from Marshall.
yep, he has 17 sacks on the year.
Yeah, that dude's gonna be a force on the NFL line for years to come.
Hell yeah. And then I believe his name is Noel Williams, defensive back, California. He has 7 interceptions on the season.
Shout him out.
Yeah, so those are your leaders for those individual stats.
Hell yeah.
And that's about all I have.
All right. Well, like we kind of mentioned earlier, Levi is a little sicky, so this might be a little bit of a shorter episode because we don't want to keep him here. We don't want to have you guys listen to him sniffling and coughing the whole
Yeah.
hour and a half. But hey, listen, we record once a week, so we figured we want to keep, we want to put the content out. Let's use on Tuesdays on Playback, obviously. Now, like I mentioned before, the main topic of today's episode is buying or selling on teams that are pretty much that are in contention for a championship, or like teams that like we think should be in contention with the championship. And like I said, if they should buy or sell on a trade deadline here in a couple months, again, starts in a couple days really for people getting signed. So I have a list of some teams here. We're going to go through each list. We're going to talk about the team, how they're starting to the season, and if they should buy or sell, and kind of like what they could possibly do with their pieces. Now, the thing is, a lot of these teams are kind of fighting that second apron. And if you're not familiar with the second apron, it means you can't aggregate contracts, which means if you trade for somebody, you have to match salary. You can't take on any more salary because you're already at the second apron. So that's where it makes trading with some of these really good teams tough because they're just paying their top players so much money, like the Phoenix Suns, like the Milwaukee Bucks, which is a team we're going to talk about here shortly. So we're going to start, like I just said, with the Milwaukee Bucks. We all know they started the season 2-8. A lot of people were like, they were out in the Bucks, they were really, really bad. But they've now turned around. I think they're 13 and they're even 12-11 or 13-11 after last night. So they're definitely on the up and up. They've pretty much won like what is that 9 out of their past like 11-ish games. So they're on an up and up. And you look at this team, they just got Chris Middleton back. So you got Dame. AJ Green's been pretty solid. Gary Trent's looked a lot better since coming off the bench. You have Chris Middleton back. Bobby Portis has had his moments. Brooke Lopez, his shot still quite isn't there, but defensively he's still kind of there. Andre Jackson Jr. has been pretty good off the bench. But this team definitely still needs more help. They need more shooting. They need more defense. Because defensively, they're still not as good as you would hope them being with Giannis, but they have like no perimeter defense at all. Like their guards cannot defend anything. So, in that regard, do you think they should buy or sell? Do you think they should try to buy into whatever they can to improve this roster? Or say, you know what, this year isn't it? Let's sell some of our older pieces and try next year.
See, with the money they have invested so far,
Mm-hmm.
I think they should buy.
Mm-hmm. I fully agree.
They should buy because for them to sell, you'd have to trade pretty much Giannis and Damian Lillard and try to match contracts and do all that extra stuff is going to be a little bit hard. And also, I just don't think they should do it. They're in a position to where they could win. It's just a matter of getting your ducks lined up in a row to win. So I definitely think they should be a team that is buying.
I agree. I think Pat Connaughton's a guy that's probably going to be out of the door with like contractually. Might be able to help get him out. You might have to just try to find some money around the edges. Maybe AJ Green is a casualty of that. Maybe Chris Middleton's a casualty of that, depending on what the offers are. But I think they need to do anything they possibly can to bring in more shooting and especially perimeter defense. They need to help Giannis by giving him some perimeter defense so it's not all falling back on him and Brooke Lopez, kind of like down low and in the paint. And, we know Giannis best as one of the best, if not the best, help defender in the NBA, where it's like he's a guy that you want him kind of roaming the paint, roaming the outside, and like coming to help, getting the chase down block, or just like picking up double teams. Like he's at his best when he's able to kind of go all the way across the court as a defender, not just a stuck one-on-one defender. So yeah, no, I fully agree buying wise. I just, again, with them being in the second apron, it's really tough. Now, I did a video, or was that last week? Yeah, last week we drew up some trades and I gave them Brandon Ingram. And, I don't think something like that's going to happen because I had a Chris Middleton, I had like AJ Green in that. But it's got to be something. I don't think it has to be a star. I think they just need a little bit more help on the bench and some shooting and defense. And when you have a top 3 player in the league, I think you always have a chance. And I think Giannis right now is the second best player in the league behind Nikola Jokic. And I think, like I said, whenever you have a guy at that star level, especially with a sidekick like Damian Lillard, who has looked a lot better this year than he did last year. I don't know. I don't think you can roll out the Bucks, especially because like they're on the run they are right now. You know what I mean? It's like okay, we're getting our ducks in the line, like you said, and now we're really trying to like push ourselves back into the championship race.
100%.
All right, next team, the Minnesota Timberwolves. Obviously, they make the trade. They get Dante DiVincenzo, they get Julius Randle, and they send out Karl Anthony Towns to the New York Knicks. And they're not great right now. They're not great right now. The defense hasn't been as good as you'd hope with Rudy Gobert because they also lost some defending. Because Cat was actually defending really, really well next to Rudy Gobert last season. They have not got that from Julius Randle. Julius Randle and both Dante DiVincenzo aren't shooting the ball well at all. I don't know. Naz Reid's kind of struggling to shoot the ball recently as well. Jaden McDaniels, we've been waiting on him to take an offensive jump for the past 4 years, and it just doesn't seem to happen. He's one of the best perimeter defenders in the league, but he just consistently cannot take that offensive jump. They don't have a lot of offense outside of Anthony Edwards and sometimes Julius Randle when he gets hot. So what do you plus don't forget Mike Conley is still a heavy guard, like still heavily in the rotation at 37 years old. Like I think a lot of us are still really confused on the idea of kind of taking the second best player off a team that was just in the conference finals. It's still a weird trade a month, like 2 months later. But what do you think? Buy or sell for the Minnesota Timberwolves in this year?
This is going to be controversial, but I think they should sell.
Yep. Okay.
I think they should sell because, like you said, they lost their second best player.
Mm-hmm.
The team has not looked that good. It's just been atrocious, in my opinion. It hasn't looked the same. It wasn't going to be the same. And I think the Timberwolves got fleeced.
Yeah.
I think they did. And not in the term of player for player, but more of a what you were beforehand compared to what you are now. Now,
yeah.
Granted, still some time to, gel and get some continuity in there. But I just don't see this team replicating what they did last year or even improving on what they did last year.
No, I agree. I'm fully in the sell mode as well. And, as a joke last week in that episode as well, if you didn't watch that, go check that out. I did a trade of Julius Randle and I can't remember who it was. Julius Randle. Julius Randle and Mike Conley. I sent to the Nets for Cam Johnson and Dorian Finney-Smith just because I thought they're going to be able to fit the role a lot better of what they want over there in Minnesota versus what you're getting from Julius Randle versus what you're getting from Dante DiVincenzo. Dante DiVincenzo was one of those guys that like last year really, really broke out in New York. And they're like, oh, he's really a big part of our future. And then they did like the whole Nova Boys thing. But then they traded him. A lot of people were like, oh, shit, how do you trade Dante DiVincenzo? Well, we're just in it this year. Last year might have been an outlier shooting-wise. He was phenomenal last year in the playoffs, shooting the ball. And this year, he just really still can't shoot the ball at all. I think, you probably sell Mike Conley. He's 37 years old. Sell him to a team that's going to just want some veteran guard play for a playoff rotation. Let Rob Dillingham, your rookie, get more minutes next to Anthony Edwards. And, I think Randall should be gone. I think Mike Conley should be gone. I think there's a real world Jaden McDaniels is going because they signed him to a massive, massive extension, I think, last offseason or the one before that. But again, being one of the best perimeter defenders in the league is a crazy good skill. But when your offensive game just continually cannot improve, you're pretty limited on the court.
100%.
Okay. Next is the Golden State Warriors. Their offense has really not been great recently, especially with once Curry's off the floor. They started off the season really, really hot, and then they went on a losing streak, and they're just not that team that everybody thought they were the first probably like 2-3 weeks of the season. There's reports that said Jimmy Butler could end up there, Brandon Ingram could end up there. I don't know with the team. Obviously I don't know if the team wants to sell because they have Curry and Draymond. They don't want to sell anything, but like it might be inevitable because the 2 timeline thing is not working. Like we talked about before with the Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, Brandon Podziemski has not been that great this year either. Like a lot of their younger players have just not been able to really develop and strive because they're stuck behind. Not stuck behind, but like they're not going to take minutes from Draymond. They're not going to take minutes from Steph Curry. They're not going to take minutes from Andrew Wiggins, who's been a lot better this year. Buddy Hield was off to a fantastic start. So it's like they're not able to take these minutes from these veterans in front of them. So they're just kind of stuck at this point in time. So I think they're in a really, really weird position right now where they want to win, but like the roster just isn't there right now.
They should sell, but knowing how that organization is and knowing how Steve Kerr is and everything, they're going to want to buy.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to buy into something. They're going to try and get Curry into the ring, but in reality, they should start looking to. I shouldn't say ship off Curry, but
They're not going to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not going to do that, but at some point it's kind of got to be like, well, Curry wants another ring. We're trying to run a 2 timeline thing. It's not working, so we got to buy it now. Because Curry, Lord knows how many years he has left in the league.
Mm-hmm.
So they should, in my opinion, sell, but they're going to buy.
Yeah, unfortunately, as long as Steph Curry's on the team, they're always going to be in the mode of winning a championship. Like they're not gonna. I don't think they're ever going to sell as long as Steph Curry's on the team because you don't want like you can't do that to Steph Curry. Just point down with all the years he's put in this organization, all the things he's done for the organization. You can't let the last 4 years of his career be on a shit team because you're trying to develop a bunch of rookies. It just doesn't make sense for what he's done, and it just doesn't make sense for the team. But the problem is, like you said, like it makes more sense for the team to try to go into this younger. Like you drafted a lot of these guys high. James Wiseman, you drafted him second overall. Then he's gone now. Like he's not on the team anymore. It's like you've really tried to bring in a lot of young players, but they just haven't been able to find their role in the team, in the system. So you're doing everything you can to win Curry ring, but then you're shooting yourself in the foot because you just once Curry's gone, the way it's going, you're not gonna have anybody there. They're not getting anybody.
Yeah, no, it's very interesting what they have going on down there in Golden State.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting.
I like I said, I don't. Yeah, part of me is like, yeah, do they sell? But it's like, as long as Curry's there, they're gonna buy. They're gonna do the Jimmy Butler thing. They're gonna do the Brandon Ingram thing. Maybe they don't. Maybe they just go more like role player route and get like maybe like 2 or 3 playable role players to try to help. Like, okay, Curry, we got to bring some type of shooting, some type of scoring. Maybe something like that. Maybe I don't even know who because you look at these scores in the open market. It's like the Warriors have a system, and the system doesn't work for a lot of players in the NBA. We saw D'Angelo Russell be phenomenal in Brooklyn, go to Golden State and not be good because it's just a completely different system. Where from what like what I mean? They run a whole different system.
Yeah.
Kelly Oubre Jr. wasn't good there. Then he leaves and goes to like he was in Phoenix. He's in Philly now. Like he's been a lot better because it's just a different thing over there in Golden State, and a lot of players just can't play in it.
Yeah, no, not every player can play for every team.
Yeah.
Even star players.
It is. Yeah. Next is another team that is in the second apron, and it's going to be really, really hard for them to make trades. But it's actually a team you mentioned earlier that is now in the Jimmy Butler sweepstakes. It is the Phoenix Suns.
With having Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, you have to buy.
Mm-hmm.
You have to. There's no selling a part of this. Like, you invested to win a ring within the next couple of years. You have to buy into it.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it's going to be hard because you're going to have to trade Bradley Beal to do it, and I know he does have that no trade clause, so you're going to have to find a destination that he likes. And plus, I don't think he wants to leave.
Yeah.
So it's going to be damn near impossible unless you trade one of your upper role players or you trade Nurkic. And even then, I don't think he's making a whole lot of money.
I think it might be. He did get that didn't he get that contract? Hold on, I'll pull it up here because I'm pretty sure he's making a solid amount of money for a trade. He has a $70 million contract with the Trailblazers, an annual of he's making $18 million this year. So
So
that is a tradable.
there's your tradable if you can package him with someone making around 5 million if possible.
Mm-hmm.
That gets you a nice little over 20 million. Then you can try and go get somebody. But
Like I said, the
it's
problem is like who, like
yeah,
like there's just not because like you look at the team, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant. Then like you run a lot of role players. You have Nurkic, you have the rookie Ryan Dunn who started off the season really really good, but has cooled down from three. Grayson Allen, Josh Kogi, Royce O'Neal. It's like it's just not a lot of stuff outside the top three guys. Especially when Nurkic was playing well, this team looked a lot better. They started the season like 8-1 until they dealt with all the injuries, and now everybody came back and they were still bad. And now Kevin Durant's back out with another injury, leg injury. It's like they statistically they every minute that Kevin Durant is not on the court, they lose. They are not a positive team. Statistically, are not a positive team without Kevin Durant on the court. And you can't be like that with a 36-year-old Kevin Durant. That
you
can't
can't.
be. It just that can't be because Devin Booker really has taken on a different role this season. He's kind of been more of a like kind of what he did with Team USA over the summer, where more like he's taken on a higher defending role, more point guard. He's been like more of a defending point guard. Just obviously like he got that 140-point game. Like Devin Booker's still a scorer. He can still score with the best of them. But like you've
Yeah,
definitely seen a shift in his role on the team this year, and it kind of has complemented and helped Bradley Beal be a little bit better, and let Kevin Durant be an MVP the first 10 games of the season before he got hurt. But it's just like you kind of need Devin Booker to step back out into that I can average 30. You know what I mean? That's kind of what you need from Devin Booker right now. And it's it's like you can't sell with these two on the team. They don't have a tradable first round pick until 2031. So it's like what are
Jesus.
you really even getting? Like what team is going to be like well, maybe that is valuable. Cuz if another team's like listen, it's about 6 years down the line, but like there's no way Bradley Beal and Kevin Durant are going to be on that team in 6 years. Devin Booker might not even be on that team in 6 years. So maybe they are really, really bad. Maybe we'll bite on that. But it's like, what are you getting that helps this team? They need help shooting. They need help defensively. They need a big upgrade at the center spot. I did a mock trade for them to get Robert Williams, but like again, unfortunately, the reality with Robert Williams is you cannot count on him for more than 30, 40 games a season. So it's like
Yeah.
it's just I don't know what's out there for them. Jonas Valanciunas is available. He's making isn't like 10 mil. So I mean, technically they could do that, but Valanciunas I don't think is changing. Like I think he's going to be better than Nurkic has been, but like not enough for it's like okay, we are a top team now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I also feel like Voos isn't defensively good. Let's be honest here. I don't think he's
Valanciunas
that
or not Vucevic.
Valanciunas, sorry. Valanciunas, yeah, never mind.
I mean, no, you're
Valanciunas,
right. Valanciunas still
yeah,
isn't any type of defensive stalwart center himself. Like he's
yeah.
just it's not like Vucevic is another name if they can make that like what is because Vucevic just is making quite a bit of money himself. I'm trying to think what off the top of my head is it close to like 20-ish
It might
mil.
be.
20 mil they had to make up. And like I said, you get 18 of that from but I don't know if they can even do that then because again with the second apron I don't know if they can use two players to trade for one. Like it's super super strict with the second apron, so they might not be able to do it at all. But Vucevic might be. I don't know. I don't like his fit on the team because it's like like I said, like you kind of started to say, like defensively, Vucevic still isn't any world beater defender. He's been better this season, but he's never really been a great defending center.
Yeah,
And it's like he wants the ball in his hands more than a Valanciunas or even a Nurkic would want the ball in his hands. And when you have Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, they're not giving the ball to Vucevic in the post. It's just not
but
happening.
with Kevin Durant dealing with the injuries, you need another scorer.
I, yeah, but I think this one's only like a week or two injury right now for Kevin Durant. It's not like a super long injury, and it's just like I just don't think Vucevic gives them at all what they need.
Yeah, that's valid.
But I don't know. Like so they're gonna buy, but there's another team that probably like the Warriors probably should sell, but they're just not going to because they have who they have on the team. Next is the Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets. When Jokic is on the court, really damn good. When Jokic is off the court, really damn bad.
This is I'm just gonna say it. I feel like they should sell.
You want to hear? You want to hear this? You want to hear a crazy stat?
Go for it.
Per 100 possessions, when Jokic is on the court, they outscore their opponents by 14 points per 100 possessions. When Jokic is off the court, they get outscored by almost 18 points per 100 possessions.
Jesus.
That's you can't have Jokic on the court. He plays about 38 minutes a game already. That's 10 minutes he's off the court, and they're down by an average of 18 when he's off the court, or like they're getting outscored by an average of 18 per 100 possessions. Which so it's not actually 18, but like you know how it is. It's like the possession, So you just need to give him help. They're not going to trade Jamal Murray, but like he's not been good really since the beginning of the calendar. Like the end of the back end, like the last like tail end of the last season, he started to fall off a little bit with those injuries. Going into the playoffs was awful in the summer for the Olympics, and it's not been good to start this season. Michael Porter Jr. has been great. He really has been struggling to shoot the ball. Aaron Gordon's, they gave him a big contract. He has some health injuries, like some injuries. Their bench isn't great. Like Russell Westbrook, he has a couple big games here and there, but that's a Russell Westbrook experience. I think they might be in the second apron as well, so I don't even know what they could do.
Yeah, no, they have something very complicated going on over there because they have so many players making so much money. I feel like here soon it's going to come to a point where you keep either Michael Porter Jr. or Aaron Gordon. You can't keep both.
Yeah.
Or you make that hard decision and it's Jamal Murray that gets traded. That's something I don't think they do. I feel like they pick between Michael Porter Jr. and Aaron Gordon, and in my opinion, at this point, it's hard to say. I think Aaron Gordon is a more complete player, but Michael Porter Jr. can also go off from three and go, like 6 for 10 from three, and kind of turn the tide of a game. But Aaron Gordon can do the same thing defensively.
Yeah, it's just
very
tough because Aaron Gordon's one of those players you talk about where it's like you see the full impact of Aaron Gordon on good teams, a championship level team, and if you're not a good team, Aaron Gordon's still going to be a good player, but you're not going to get you're not going to see the full impact of Aaron Gordon if you're winning 30 games. You know what I mean? Like he's just one of those players that kind of fits that criteria. So yeah, if you start really struggling, I think Aaron Gordon could be a guy that goes because they're like, listen, like you do a lot of good things. You do a lot of good things on the basketball court. A lot of stuff doesn't show up on the stat sheet. A lot of stuff that does show up on the stat sheet. But like we're not winning games, so it's not really making the impact that we wanted to.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. Like I said, they're in a tough situation. They're going to have to soon choose who they value more.
Their bench is just awful.
Bad.
It's not good at all. And like it has been for the past couple of years, but every year it gets a little bit worse. It gets a little bit they lose Bruce Brown. They lose KCP. It's just like every year they're losing another piece off the bench, another piece off the bench, another piece off the bench. And it's like at this point in time, like I said, they're with Jokic not on the court, they're a bad team. Not even they're just bad with him not on the court, and that's not a good thing for a team trying to win a championship. Because come to playoff time, he's gonna play 40 plus minutes just because it's what it's gonna happen. But like the way it's going, you're gonna damn near need him to play 45 minutes to have a chance. And at that point in time, if you're going deep into these 6-7 games of the series, he's gonna be gassed by the time the finals come around. If you make it that far. Hey,
but they got a ring already.
They do. Do you sell? You have a ring with the score? Do you just signed Aaron Gordon? That's gonna be a tough thing to try to turn around and trade because he is such a good player. I don't know. It's
they're in a very interesting, sticky situation.
So what's your verdict on that? Buy or sell?
I think buy.
I'm gonna go sell. I think this is one of the teams that I think the front office might go. You know what? We need to make a big shakeup, and maybe that is buying considerably if you make a big shakeup, like a big trade. But like, I don't know. We'll see. Next, the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cavaliers are the number 1 team in the Eastern Conference. I think they have the best record in the league actually right now, like 21-4 or something like that. Start off the season like 14-0, 15-0. Really, really, really good. I don't know if I don't know if they need to buy or sell. I think they're just good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, there's no room for them to sell because their entire team is like playing really, really good.
And Max Strus is just now coming back too. He hasn't played yet this season, so they have Max Strus now.
Yeah, and there's no need to buy because your team is arguably is in my opinion top two in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's no reason to buy, there's no reason to sell. The only reason why you're buying is if you're trying to make a position better, but at this point I feel like you'd be giving up too much
Hmm.
just to try and make one position better. This Cleveland team is a serious threat in the East and is something that Boston needs to take seriously.
Yeah. The only thing I could say is like maybe you like try to find a wing because like between Isaac Okoro and Max Strus is just not coming back. Isaac Okoro offensively still hasn't really ever taken that jump you've wanted. Maybe you just like maybe you just a wing off the bench is like if they have to do if we're saying they have to do something, it's something like that. But like I said, yeah, I don't think this could be a team that just chills in the deadline, not really doesn't do anything.
Yeah, that's about what I expect. I don't
But
see it making any groundbreaking trades.
yeah, and then again, we still have 2 months until the deadline. So maybe in 2 months they're down to the 3-4 seed, and something's not working, and then they find something. They're like, okay, this needs to get moved. You know what I mean? But as of right now, yeah, as we're
LeBron
saying this in
back to
December,
Cleveland.
yeah, right, yeah, right. I don't know if they'd even want him at this point in time. I don't know, man. I don't know. Next, the Dallas Mavericks. So I they're a weird team. They're a weird team because they were just in the finals last year, and they got off to kind of a weird start. And Luka Doncic had kind of a weird start. They missed some times. They won some games without Luka. Now he's back. He's playing a lot better since he's been back. But again, they're one of these teams where it's like, what do you trade? What do you move? You know what I mean? Like, okay, Klay Thompson's not been good, but like, what the hell are you going to get for him?
Not much.
Exactly. So it's like, I don't, I don't know. You know, PJ Washington's been pretty good this season. Najee Marshall's been phenomenal. They brought him in for the defensive, and he's been good offensively too, as well as on the defensive side of the ball. He's been really, really good for them. Spencer Dinwiddie's had a couple bigger games, surprisingly, just out of nowhere. So it's like maybe you look at their role players. Maybe they start cooling off, and maybe the team comes back down to earth a little bit, like starts losing some games because they're role players. But like as of right now, it's like I think they're pretty solid with their team. Again, like maybe in their head they're like, oh shit, we got to get off of Klay Thompson now. But it's like you're not going to get anything worthwhile that's going to make you any better.
They're in that weird spot to where I feel like they lost more valuable pieces than what they brought in.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It just I don't know. The Klay Thompson signing, in my opinion, was very interesting. I know they needed a little bit more scoring and shooting because of how the Celtics played defense against them in the finals, kind of daring them to shoot from like the wing and top of the key and trying to
Mm-hmm.
cut off the corner. But paying that much money to Klay Thompson when you could have filled a lot of other areas of need with a couple other players, I don't think was the right idea.
Mm-hmm.
But who knows what it could end up? But I do think they need. See, it's tough. It's hard for them to sell, but it's also hard for them to buy
Yeah.
because of the cap situation that they're in.
Yeah, they might be one of those teams again that just kind of sits there at the offseason or at the deadline, being like, "Listen, we just can't really. There's nothing out there that we want enough to make any trades."
And like you were saying about would you move on from Klay Thompson or try and get rid of him? You would have to, like you said, because I believe they're in that second apron.
Mm-hmm.
They would have to match the contract, so it would basically be like Klay for Jimmy. I don't even know if Klay
Oh
makes
no,
enough to match them.
not even close.
Yeah, so you're stuck.
Mm-hmm.
You're just stuck at where you're at, and it's a self-inflicted wound.
At this point in time, to trade Klay Thompson, you might need to give up a first round pick to convince another team to take him at this point in
Yep.
time. So you're just gonna hurt yourself. It's like you just kind of hope at some point in time Klay Thompson's one of the best shooters of all time, and at some point in time you're like he's got to be able to hit a shot. Like he's got to. You don't just forget how to shoot a basketball. You know what I mean? So it's like I think that's what you're hoping on. But yeah, I just don't. They're another one of those teams that's kind of stuck where it's like I don't think they can really make any moves. Next is the New York Knicks. Offensively, been good. Defensively, not been very good, which is kind of surprising with some of the defenders like Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby. But Preston Achiuwa has missed a lot of time. Mitchell Robinson hasn't played at all this season. Do you think? My question is, I think this is another team that doesn't do any trades because they need more help in the perimeter defense. But Mikal Bridges has been a phenomenal defender his whole career. He's just kind of had like a weird up and down start to this season. I think he's going to get it on track. Josh Hart can hold his own defensively. OG Anunoby is one of the best perimeter defenders in the league. Mitch Robinson and Precious Achiuwa are great interior defenders. Once they get back healthy, I think. I'm not going to say this team's going to be a top 10 defensive team, but I think they'll have enough defense at that point in time to hold themselves over with how great of an offense they have.
It's and also like we've talked about before. You brought in Mikal Bridges and Karl Anthony Towns. Bringing in
Mm-hmm.
role players and plugging them in, it's I shouldn't say easy, but it's easier
Yeah,
than bringing
100%.
in two stars like that. And that could also be why he's kind of struggling defensively.
Mm-hmm.
And it could also be Thibodeau with his defensive schemes. It could have Mikal a little confused sometimes. Like we've seen a couple times he's got a little lost on defense, but at the end of the day, still a really good defender. He's gonna pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
Karl Anthony Towns is not the greatest defender, but as we've seen in the Timberwolves, he can play some defense. His
Yeah.
defense is not non-existent. Bringing back Precious Achiuwa, or once they get back from injury, but Precious Achiuwa and Mitchell Robinson,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the interior defense is going to elevate a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
And do you think that they move Cat to the 4 and start Robinson at the 5 later on when Robinson is like back and fully healthy?
It's possible. I think they definitely could. It'd be like Jalen Brunson, Mikal, OG, Cat, Mitch Robinson. Like, I think that would be a lot better. The biggest thing I'm frustrated with watching the Knicks is I feel like Mikal Bridges is kind of in this area of like, I was a 3-and-D role player. I got my turn to be a star. Now I don't want to go back to being a 3-and-D role player because it just seems like sometimes on defense, he's just not putting effort in. If he gets screened, he's hit that screen and he's stopping. And this was a guy that was one of the best screen navigators in Phoenix. When he was in Phoenix, he was one of the best screen navigators in the league. He would fight through screens, he would fight over top. That allowed the Phoenix Suns to let DeAndre Ayton play back and play a lot more drop coverage because DeAndre Ayton's not any type of perimeter defender. Yeah. So it's like now he got that like all-star treatment in Brooklyn, and he goes to the Knicks where it's like, okay, we need you to kind of step back a little bit more into that Phoenix role. And it's like, I don't know if he just doesn't want to, or he's just having like a hard time dialing himself back and locking back in defensively. You know what I mean? Because it's just like, there's no reason when you're getting hit by a screen, you're just hitting it and it's dying. You're just like, you're stopping immediately. And it's weird. And I think Jalen Brunson's going to have to really buy in. I know he's like short. He's like 6'1". You know what I mean? So it's definitely tough for shorter guys to really be great defenders because they just don't have the frame for it. But they're gonna need, like Kyrie Irving did it last year in the playoffs. You need these guys to just kind of buy in defensively and just put effort in. You know what I mean? If you can get that effort from Jalen Brunson, get Mikal Bridges to give the effort again, OG Anunoby is going to hold the shit down. Mitch Robinson's going to hold the shit down. And then maybe, like you mentioned, putting Cat to the 4 with Mitchell Robinson behind him. It's no Rudy Gobert. We know that. Yeah. But it lets him play a familiar role to what he did last year in Minnesota, where he would be the primary defender, and then Rudy Gobert would be the help side there at the rim. Now, Mitchell Robinson could be the help side there at the rim. Again, not the same level, but more maybe a familiar area for Cat, and that might help him get a little bit better.
Just like your point about Bridges, like that whole all offense, no defense thing with the Nets, because the Nets were not good. Let's be honest here.
Yep.
It was more of just Bridges like, you know what, let me go out there and see if I can get some money. Let me go out there and get a bag.
Yeah.
And I just feel like once you get into that mentality of like score, it's hard to dial it back and be like, okay, I was the man in Brooklyn. Now I got to dial it back because, we have Cat, we have Brunson.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I feel like by the end of the year or like by game 45, I feel like we're gonna be seeing a much different Bridges. I feel like he's gonna be locked in a hell of a lot more defensively.
I mean, you saw it with Jeremy Grant too. Like when he was in Philly, when he was in Denver to start his career, he was defense, energy, rebounding. Then he gets that big contract with that $20 million contract with Detroit and became way more of a scorer. And then goes to Minnesota or goes to Portland, and now it's like he gets like sometimes you get like 1 or 2 rebounds a game. He's taking shots. He's kind of lazy on defense. Part of that's because the Portland team's just not good. I just don't think he's putting the effort in. But it's like he's one of those guys that like he once he got the chance to show, I can average 20. He's like, I don't want to go back into that defense and hustle role because I've now shown you I can average 20. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, and I think Mikal Bridges might fall into that, but I hope this is a way they can kind of lock him back in to be like, okay, obviously we now know you're much more than a 3-and-D wing. You've proven that in Brooklyn, but your role in this team is that's what we kind of need you to be. You're going to have opportunities where you can put the ball in the court, put the ball on the floor, and score like you were in Brooklyn. You're going to have those opportunities when when Jalen Brunson or Cat's on the bench. You're going to have more of a because he has a bigger offensive bag than an OG Anunoby does. But like in the starting lineup, you're going to be like, listen, man, Brunson and Cat are going to have the ball in their hands.
Yeah, it's just a matter of trying to get him dialed back in. And I
Yeah.
feel like once you bring back Anunoby, Achua, and Robinson, the staples of the defense, I feel like he's going to lock back in defensively. And it might even get Brunson to give more effort on the defensive side.
So these last two teams, I feel like we don't have to talk about. It's the Thunder and the Celtics. I feel like they're
Celtics
both
need to buy.
Yeah, I feel like they're both such good teams. It's like maybe you look for the Thunders, like maybe some center because Chet. We don't know how long Chet's gonna be out for. You know what I mean? But Isaiah Hartenstein's been really, really good. They still have Jalen Williams, the backup center, and then J Dub was playing center there, and he was looking pretty good for that couple game stretch. So like they're fine. I don't think there's much they could do. The Celtics, I don't think I think they might be in the second apron too. It's like I don't think they could even do anything. Maybe you might look at their bench. It's like maybe they could use a little bit of bench help, but it's like whatever. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, Tatum's making a shit ton of money. Brown's making a shit ton of money. They extended Drew Holiday, extended.
Oh
Jared
yeah, they're
White.
definitely in the second.
Yeah, they are about as high as you can go with the money.
So it's like, and you're not gonna, and nobody on that roster, you're gonna be like, well, like, what do you? You're not like those. You're not trading anybody in that. You're not trading any of that starting five. Peyton Pritchard's been so good. You're not trading him. And you look at like Al Horford, they're not gonna trade him. Sam Hauser, you're not gonna get shit for. You know what I mean? Like Jordan Walsh, you know, what are you gonna get for that? You know what I mean? It's just like the tradable players. You're not. There's no point. There's just no point.
I think once you get to the bench, like a Peyton Pritchard, a Luke Cornett, you just said his name and I forget.
Jordan Walsh.
The other one.
Sam Hauser.
NQ. Like these guys are just built to play in the Celtics system.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that is just what they're meant for. And I don't think obviously Peyton Pritchard, if you take him out of Boston, you put him somewhere else. I feel like he could carve himself a nice role.
100%.
But he fits this Boston Celtics team a lot, and just the players that they were able to get and to buy into it, just amazing. Also, shout out NQ. I feel like he's one of the more underrated players on the Celtic team. Just want to give him a shout out.
Hell yeah. That is all the teams for buying and selling. I appreciate you sticking out with me. I know you're not feeling the best right now.
So there's anything go on.
Hell yeah. Is there anything you want to talk about? We still have our Thursday night game. We'll do here in a second. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we move on to that?
North Carolina and this is actually breaking news right now from Adam Schefter.
Okay. North
Carolina has announced it has agreed to a 5-year deal with Bill Belichick.
Shout out. Here we go. We'll see Billy in the college scene.
Billy Boy in North Carolina.
His girlfriend just graduated college like a year ago. So he knows. He knows what's up. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and do the Week 15 Thursday night game and then get up out of here. So, tomorrow night, or tonight at 8:15 as you're watching this, the Rams are in San Francisco, or in Santa Clara, basically. They play in Santa Clara, to take on the 49ers. Who do you have?
Gotta go with the Rams.
Listen. I said the Rams were going to be a 12-win team before the season started. People looked at me like I was crazy. They got off to a really, really bad start with injuries, but they've been really damn good recently.
They have, and I do got to give them their props. They have been playing amazing.
Mm-hmm.
The 49ers, though, they've been dealing with injuries. They just haven't looked good at all.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't really looked good. I know the two starting running backs are now injured, and I don't think they're going to be playing in this game.
No, I think they're both out for the season.
Yeah. So it's just like, I don't know. This Rams team is playing really, really good, and I just don't see the 49ers being able to stop them or keep up with them offensively.
I'm going Rams too, man. Shout out.
Hell yeah.
Well, we appreciate you guys watching this episode of Time Out with J&G. Make sure you catch us every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on Playback. We can watch a game with us. Next Tuesday, there's only one game, so we probably won't be doing it because it's like the 8:30 game, 9:30, whatever. But I think we did talk. We're going to be doing the noon Christmas Day game, so next Wednesday instead. If anything changes, we'll let you know. Just check out our Twitter, or it's my Twitter, Cloud Game, and I'll put any updates if we decide not to do that. But if not, then we'll see you next Thursday for that stream, right?
Right.
All right. We appreciate you guys watching. We'll see you next week.